If an SME comes to Mayden today to apply for a loan and they weren't eligible, what advice will you give to them that will make them increase their credit worthiness so that when you come back the next time, they are eligible for a loan?
Okay, very good question. I think if they don't, if they're not eligible, there must be reasons why they're not eligible.
Yes.
Okay, so that always is the starting point. Is it that they don't have the financial capability for what they want to do? Is it that they don't have financial records? That are the things we talked about. Is it that the idea that it's just ideas? A number of people just there's this type of business now, and so they rush into it. So they really don't have the knowledge, for the business, or don't have the skill set, or maybe that business that they want to go into is in a sector of the economy that is not doing well, right? So as we know, in Nigeria's GDP, we know the different sectors that are doing very, very well, and we know the ones that are struggling. So it's about actually engaging that customer and giving that customer ideas as to what they need to do to now say, okay, it's not a total loss in terms of your business. You can still do this way. And what Megan said about the fact that what is important is that you do not get a loan that is not sufficient for what you want the money for, or that you get a loan that is way above what your business is eligible for. So that engagement, that advisory is very important, especially for SMEs that they're trying to navigate themselves. So we would have that engagement and say, okay, based on what you have right now, we believe that this is what you're good for, your business is good for. Okay, let's start with this amount, and then as you continue to perform on your loans, then you can get something out. I use the word perform on your loans because in credit, we always say there's a difference between ability to repay and willingness to repay. Now, ability is that you are not able to pay, maybe because certain factors that you didn't foresee happen. Whereas willingness means that you don't even want to repay that loan. Now, if it's the fact that for some reason, you don't have the ability, then you need to go to your account officer and sit with the person and say, you know what, for these reasons, my cash flow is tight right now. Can we restructure the loan, right, so that I will pay in line with my future cash flows? But if you abandon the loan, there are a lot of consequences in Nigeria right now. First of all, there's the direct debit mandate, which anywhere where your money is within the Nigerian banking system, even if it takes years, you will get it. There's also the global standing instruction, which if it's signed, again, it might take time, but we'll get it. So it's important that if you don't want your business to die completely, repay your loans as and when due, and if you have any problems with your cash flow, come to your bank, explain your situation, because somehow with the credit bureaus, with the direct debit arrangement, there's no hiding place anymore. And then, of course, with BVN means it's all a digital market. We know who you are. So, but as long as we have your BVN. So, we would advise you the way we should advise you as to what we believe you have capacity to service as a loan. And if you do not repay the loan, there are obviously consequences for not repaying the loans.
Thank you very much. To our audience, if you have questions, you can either drop it on the chat or we'll just give you a minute or two to ask your questions. But I will ask Henrietta, I know for some SMEs that are not compliant, right? What are the likely penalties or consequences? If they miss their deadline, they did not file a return because it's just business as usual, they don't care. What are the likely consequences or penalties?
So for such businesses, sometimes the cost of compliance is even cheaper to comply. So, sometimes due to circumstances beyond their control, they really are not able to file. Or some other times they are just careless. They are just waiting to do the things they want to do at the time that is convenient for them. So a lot of consequences abound. With the laws now, you have penalties, you have interest on the unpaid taxes as a result of your filings. You are not able to generate tax clearance because right now companies are able to generate their tax clearance online once they have paid all their taxes. So you are not able to generate the tax clearance. Now what that means is if you have business opportunities, you have bids to make, and you are not able to have your tax clearance, then you miss out on your growth of your business. So you now have to come to the tax office. That takes a lot of stress off on you. It puts a lot of stress on you. When you come, I will also ask you to make those payments. The returns you refuse to file, you still file. The money you would have used to expand your business, use it to pay interest on your, on your accumulation of your non-payments of your taxes. So really, for me, it's not worth it if it's actually within your control, except when it's not within your control. But, however, it's important that, like I said earlier on, that businesses begin to plan ahead. Just the way you plan your salaries, you should pay salaries, you have to pay your light bills, those, you factor that in, know that, okay, if you are due to file returns, for instance, by the tax laws, we operate a preceding year basis, right? So if your accounting period ends in December, for instance, companies are eligible to file returns 6 months after the end of the accounting period, right? So you have 6 months within which to plan and make your payments, file your returns, make payments where possible, where you have payments to make. Don't forget that it's not every time you file returns that you have to pay taxes. It depends on what you filed in your business activities, determine what taxes you should pay, if you should pay taxes. So you don't have to wait to, go fall foul of the law. Go ahead, plan enough, have tax as one of your business strategies. You know that, okay, at this particular time you should file your returns. You know that you should pay your taxes. So you avoid interest and penalties. These interest and penalties are not worth it. Those monies you use will be used for other things for the business.
Thank you very much, Henrietta. I just have one question for Mojisola. For individuals still struggling to embrace the new tax laws, right? What advice do you have for them?
Well,